Welcome to the Bobby Carpenter Show. And people asked, they said, hey, we love having Lathan on. We'd like to have some other people. Number one dude in the chat that popped up, Seth McLaughlin, and excited to welcome him in, the 1.5 Achilles center for Ohio State. Seth, man, how I think everybody wants to know, like, how we feeling, how we doing right now?
Feeling good, man. Just recovering with the guys here in Columbus and just enjoying the rest of my time here through April.
Hey, Seth, talk to everybody. I mean, you and I,
what was that process like for you coming here, being kind of new into the group? And, it's a pretty tight-knit team, as you obviously saw, like assimilating in. How did all that work and how did that go?
Yeah, there was a lot of backstory that I just wasn't aware of. Playing in the SEC, I didn't really look too much up to the Big Ten to see what was going on and the storylines going into it. But once I got here, I quickly started to learn what everybody was about. I knew that the culture was going to be good, but I didn't know exactly what that meant to be a Buckeye. So last offseason was challenging, just trying to work myself in and figure out where I fit in and just buying into the culture and doing what I had to do. But it was awesome getting to learn the Buckeye culture from Coach Mick and the rest of the offensive linemen. And it was truly something special that I didn't actually I didn't think it was going to be this good, which was an awesome surprise.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that, because I remember the first day that you were in the building because I was helping out. And a little bit of that shock, like the competitive excellence, and I never say anything about any other programs. It's just different, right? And they're all different in their own unique, good, positive ways. What was one of those things that kind of surprised you, competitive excellence, whatever it was, like in that first off season that really helped, I like to put completely submerge you into what it means to be a Buckeye in the off season program?
Really, it was just those competitions that we did. We didn't really do much of that at Bama. I didn't really know what to expect about that, but to have each one of your lifts go against somebody wins, somebody loses, that's getting posted. Everybody knows who won, who lost. And, Carson kind of got after my ass last year. So it really helped me get better. And it was a really fun process to work my way up and start getting better at those competitions and start actually getting in the win column.
I mean, would you and Caleb talk about that? It's kind of unique that, you and Caleb transfer in, and obviously different positions, different side of the ball. But, Caleb said, he goes, it was all, what did he say? He didn't say it was all like power training. None of it was competitive like that. And, you just touched on that. Was that something like, you kind of commiserate with or talk to him about that when you got here?
Yeah. We were laughing because a lot of the stuff at Bama was like science-based. Every single thing was tracked to see your power and speed. And it's a different type of training. I think both have their ups and downs, but to go and just do tough-ass shit, like it was different for sure. And it felt like we were trained to be bodybuilders a little bit, which it really helps on the offensive line. So I think that really helped me this year.
It said, so there was, I was reading something you put on or you discussed like Coach Day, the players' own meeting. Before I get into that, talk a little bit about just Coach Day and communication with the players, why you guys love playing for him, why you love, playing for Coach Fry and all those things. Because there's a lot of noise that we heard about the offensive line. You're the apex, man. Like, you come in and you win at Remington. So just talk a little bit about that process from your coaches to then ultimately winning that award that also goes to your brothers on the offensive line.
Yeah, first off, it's awesome that Coach Day and Coach Fry don't believe everything they read on Twitter to begin with.
Backs.
There were some coaches out there that didn't have the balls to bring me in based on what they had read and stuff. And after talking with Coach Day and Coach Fry on those initial visits, they already knew the type of player that they thought they could get by bringing me in. And I'm glad that they felt that strongly about that, especially when they already had a guy here that played well in the past. They were just looking for every edge. And then Carson ended up playing really, really well at the end of the season. So I think that was a benefit to both of us, just getting that experience and working together and pushing each other. But Coach Day and Coach Fry were awesome, man. Like Coach Day, just the way he could bring this team back from the lows of the season and kind of roll with those punches. Because, anything that the players go through individually, Coach Day gets it tenfold because he's got, 10x the salary, 10x the expectations of the best players on our team. So knowing that the guy's in the trenches with us, he's taking the bullets and he's wearing his heart on his sleeve and living and dying with like the performance on the field, people really want to play for a guy like that. And, he never pushes the blame on anybody else. It's always like, what can I do to help the team get better? And what can I do to put the team in the best position to win? And I think players really respect that.
So I want to ask you about two relationships here and hit on this first one. You talked about going back, the winner loser with Carson. For people that don't understand, like the competitive lifting, I mean, it's literally like dude versus dude going against each other. And you got Schlegs running around, winner, loser, like counting them all, tracking them. Like it is ultra intensity. It's like kind of like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat in there. And you're going against Carson Hinsman, who started last year and played pretty well. And, you said like he's taking it to you a little bit, and you're there ultimately to take his job. Ironically, you end up getting hurt after, win the Remington, but he plays beside you for a little bit after they have to kick Donnie out, and then ultimately takes over. What was that relationship like and the evolution of that process?
Our relationship's a lot better now than it was when I first got here. Because when I first got here, it was truly like competitive. Like we're fighting for each other's jobs, and he was kicking the crap out of me in those lifts. Because Carson is like a weight room warrior. Like he can lift a house. He's fast as hell, athletic, and I mean, he just has that mentality to like go and get after me. Like he drugged me into deep water and left me there, especially when I wasn't comfortable with it.
That's right.
And that's just the type of dude he is. Like hardworking farm kid from Wisconsin. Like, so I have so much respect for Carson, and I had a lot of respect for him coming in, where maybe he didn't have a lot of respect for me coming in trying to take his job. But we're really good friends now. Like same sense of humor, like same type of dude. And it was interesting to see, like, it took a little while for me to actually like prove myself in his eyes. Cause, it'd be different if I came in and I started and I didn't play well. And that would be hard on him, but like to have a guy come in and like win the award for the best center, like that definitely makes it a lot easier on Carson. And, I think he's going to be up for that award the next year, 2 years, however long left he has in his career. Cause I mean, I've got so much respect for the type of player he is. He came a long way, like from an intellectual side of things this year over the course of the season, just working together, working with Coach Fry. So, I mean, the sky's the limit for that kid, and it's going to be awesome to see how he develops the next couple of years.
It was awesome to watch, and all the success that he had, obviously, and then sliding in for you, and to see that offensive line continue to dominate through the last 4 games. And the other relationship I was curious about is, you and Will came in, and Will was coming into more of an open job. Obviously, you have to still win it, but the quarterback center relationship of how that ultimately worked, and trying to be a leader when you don't really know anybody, and how you guys kind of meshed and kind of integrated together.
Yeah, without Will, I definitely wouldn't have had the season that I did, because I needed a guy like Will, who I had a ton of trust in, and I could just focus on playing football. And that's really what I got out of Will. And we became best friends. Like, I mean, I even put him on with my girlfriend's sister. Like, I want him in the family. Like, yeah, I don't know if that's been breaking news, but
well, that's only good if it works out, Seth.
Oh,
like
100%.
You'll get credit. You won't get much credit. You get a lot of blame if something happens.
Oh, 100%. But yeah, I mean, that's the guy I want to be my future brother-in-law. So that's just the type of guy he is. He's an incredible leader, and one of my best friends. So without him, I don't think I would have had the season that I did, and this team definitely wouldn't have had the success that it did without his leadership.
See, this is how I know that you're smart, Seth, because your girlfriend, you've been dated for a while now. She has 4 sisters, correct?
Yeah.
4 sisters. So like, you've got to try to stack the deck for you for the holidays, man. Cause like, you can't have your sister-in-laws be married to douchers. It's the worst thing in the world. And like, I have 3 brothers. I don't have any sisters. Like, my wife was the one who had to like make sure my brothers married like cool girls so they can all hang out. Cause if not, man, like the holidays, I'm gonna be honest, like the holidays are terrible. I have friends that don't want to go see their siblings because they have to deal with the in-laws, which are brutal.
Yeah, no doubt. That's definitely what I had in mind. So we'll see how it goes and see how it progresses. There's a long way to go.
Seth, talk a little bit about you get hurt and now then you stay. Like talk a little bit about how you were able to like go into the room and kind of keep it rolling, help facilitate, because it's one thing from a coach to articulate, it's another thing for a player to help articulate because you're out there seeing what you know the guys are seeing. How did that help, or how did you do that at the remainder of the season?
I mean, honestly, probably the easiest thing for me was to stay around and still be in it, because if I wasn't, I'd just be miserable, man. Like this, all I did this year was just live and breathe Buckeye football, and if my injury took that away from me, that would have been the worst thing possible. But just still being able to be in the room and be with the guys, go over film. Like I'm sitting in the corner over here watching film while the offensive line's in here, just helping Carson out, telling him what I see, kind of coming up with plans for different rushers. And it was honestly a big deal with me because, I mean, for a minute there, I thought I was going to ruin the season, like getting hurt. And I know I couldn't control it, but I couldn't control the injury. But that was something that was going to really weigh on my heart, is if we couldn't rally after that injury so late in the year and get a good cohesive line together. Because it's hard. When a guy goes down, you put a new piece in. There's new communications. There's new double teams. Like, that's a big deal in the offensive line. So to have the offensive line step up and not be a reason, like we didn't win in spite of the line in the playoffs. I think a big reason why we won was because of the offensive line. And I'm just happy that I didn't have any negative impact on that.
Oh, it was tremendous. I mean, you look at injuries to you, obviously to Jimmy on the outside, the movement, the shuffle. I mean, Seth, you've played a number of years. Like, have you ever seen an offensive line juggled like that so much and then ultimately come together the way they did at the end?
I mean, a lot of offensive lines are in deep shit if they get to linemen 6 and 7. But I mean, we had linemen 9 and 10 going into fall camp that ended up playing like high-level players and are going to be incredible starters next year going forward. And, Coach Fry did an incredible job, and clearly he got a great opportunity because of it. So it's going to be exciting things in the offensive line room moving forward, because a lot of those guys were young guys. They were just getting their first opportunities in the playoffs. So the future is definitely bright.
Well, tell everybody a little bit about how you're feeling on your rehab. What are your thoughts going into this NFL draft? Just let everybody know what's going on in the world of Seth McLaughlin.
Yeah, basically all I'm doing right now is rehabbing with Stu, lifting with Higgs. Yeah, lifting with Coach Higgs, and then going home and playing Xbox the rest of the day. Doing some interview and not combine prep, but like interview prep with AQ Shipley over Zoom. So learning a lot about football. He's a big time veteran, and he's a great person to learn from, and I'm learning a lot. So just preparing for the interviews, trying to put my best foot forward in those, and trying to put my best Achilles forward when it comes to the combine and pro day, and have no setbacks, because I should be ready to go and play next season. That's what my doctors are telling me. So keep it on track, and nothing will really impact me going down the line.
Hey, listen, man, you're a smart dude. Like the interview is only tough if you're not able to answer the questions. And so you've got a great story to tell. Very smart guy, and you'll be absolutely fine. Plus, you're a better dude. Like I used to draw dongs all over the whiteboards. I'd answer a lot of weird questions about stuff that were kind of awkward. Yeah.
I like that, Seth. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Probably still doing that a little bit.
Yeah, I think I did it probably excessive amount. It was probably like super bad. I mean, there was a number of questions that came up about it, and like people asked me to recreate the drawings, sometimes as a joke, sometimes to see like what it was about. But I want to finish you with this, man. We appreciate you doing this and giving a chance to kind of get to know like Seth McLaughlin. You were with Chip. You were with Nick Saban. They obviously have great coaches down there in Alabama. Chip Kelly, for my money, is the best offensive run schemist I've ever seen. Being able to marry the motion, the backfield action with what's going on up front. And for a guy that was mostly, he ran a lot of zone for a while, but then all of a sudden, like, let's just start doing gap schemes, double teams, pulls, all the things that maybe you do a little better when you're on your 8th, 9th, and 10th lineman. What makes him so special? What makes him tick?
I mean, He's just a brilliant dude, and I think what really helped us was just having the system able to do that. Like when we started installing all those plays, that stuff that we'd ran back in the spring, all the backfield action stuff is just candy. It doesn't affect our play call. It doesn't affect the way we, ID stuff. It's just the base play that we get called into us. So I think him and Coach Fry. I think Coach Fry was a huge part of that. Just going through each and every look with us in that postseason, helping us come along. I definitely think those 10 days in between each playoff game really helped our offensive line, getting all the one-off looks and stuff like that. But I mean, Coach Kelly, he's a wizard, and he knows, he's seen all these defenses. He knows what beats all these defenses because he's been doing it for so long. And it was just an incredible year. I'm glad it all came together like that.
Hey Seth, I want you to tell everybody about the Run the Damn Ball hat, because I bought one, and I want to hear the final tally. Run the Damn Ball, hats sold, money raised. Let's go.
Yeah, that was a cool thing. That I wish we could have kept it going, but I got injured right as soon as we were mailing off a lot of the hats. We ended up selling 600 hats, which was awesome because last year at Bama we sold 82. Raised $1,200 last year, but this year we raised $12,000, which was incredible. And I think that was over 30,000 meals. For every dollar you get 3 meals distributed. So it was 36,000 meals that we got to do, which was incredible. I saw a ton of them throughout the walk to the stadium. Saw a ton of them in the stadiums. Saw a lot on the road throughout the playoffs, which was really cool. Didn't really sign many of them though. I thought people were going to want to get them signed, but the hats are much cooler than my signature.
Absolutely. I lied. I have one more question because I want to get personal. What do we watch, Seth? And what are we streaming? Movie guy? What are you doing after you're done playing video games? Your lovely girlfriend Sarah, you got to do something with her.
What are we watching? We're in between shows right now. I was a big Suits guy. Prison Break's a great show. Okay. Movies, it's mostly rom-coms because I'm not picking the movies. So that's really what I'm doing. I'm probably playing way too much Xbox for my girlfriend's liking right now, but that's just what I'm doing. I got to do something. Get my competitive juices flowing. I don't get to go against Carson and dumbbell grips or croc rows this year, so got to get my competitive juices flowing.
Well, come down to the farm. Are you in the boots still? Can you walk around?
Yeah, I'm walking around. We're doing some leg stuff on it. I'm not squatting yet. I'm getting out of the boot in a week. Not sure how long I can wait until I'm running and stuff, but hammering upper body with Higgs. I'm actually holding my phone. It's probably shaking right now because my pre-workout's starting to kick in.
Yes, I love it.
Get out of here.
Good. I'll get you to the farm and we'll have a shooting contest.
Yeah, go pump with Higgs now. I mean, Higgs is probably dying. He's shaking in there. He wants to start lifting. So
He's
lift with
figuring out where I'm at.
Exactly. Well, tell me you're with us. We appreciate it, Seth. Get out of here. Thank you for spending some time with us.
All right. Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all having me. Appreciate y'all.
Brother.
Seth McLaughlin, one of the best, man. Gosh, I love that guy. And it's been awesome to get to know these guys, Schlegs. And had to go a little earlier today. We drug him on. He was a little bit late into his lift, but hey, Buckeyes, he'll be ready to rock and excited for that. All right, we're going to take a break. There's some huge news. I don't know if you knew this. The coaching staff for Ohio State is firmed up, and Ryan Day contract extension. Buckeyes. All that coming up next.
Welcome to Big Play, the fastest growing sports media company in America.
I'm gonna keep it straight with you. The reason you should watch our show is because I look good, baby.
Come get some!
Join our millions of fans for live sports talk shows hosted by the top former athletes and sports personalities in the industry.
Ohio, it's my home state.
Obviously, I'm a diehard Cleveland sports fan.
Watch what you want, where you want, when you want. Welcome to Big Play.
Make sure you tune in.
I love you, Cleveland.
All right, welcome back into the Bobby Carpenter Show. And some huge news. I know we didn't want to start the show off with it. We had to get Seth out before his left. So that's the main reason why. But before we get going, I want to tell you about my friends over at Export. We tell you each and every day. Parents, athletes, protect what matters most with Export mouth guards, trusted by professional dentists. Trusted by professional athletes, designed by NHL team dentists. Export mouth guards are scientifically tested to absorb those high-impact hits, protecting both your brain and teeth. Export mouth guards feature 3 layers of advanced protection, patented use of this carbon fiber. It's amazing. They 3D print that bad boy custom right to your own grill. More protection, max performance, better comfort, clear communication. Focus on the game, not on the gear. Don't take chances with your safety. Visit exportguards.com/Bobby. Be sure to check them out today and save 15% on your order. Export, protect what matters most. All right. So let's start here. I know we have some new coordinators or a new coordinator. Defensive side of the ball still at this point unresolved. I think that'll be more of an announcement for next week. I mean, Ohio State, I don't think is still officially announced the coaches at this point yet, but it's been widely reported of who's coming in. But Ryan Day, as we can throw this up here, they're talking about Pete Thamel's reporting. Ohio State and Ryan Day have agreed to a new contract, 7-year contract that'll keep Day as coach of the Buckeyes through 2031, which is awesome. Who had 3 years to his current agreement, be valued at $12.5 million in total annual compensation. That's putting him right near the top. He was already top 5, but now he's got a national championship, man. And he's one of 3 guys to have a national championship currently coaching Schlegs in college football right now. It makes sense for Ohio State to do this. Hell, he's got the best active winning percentage in college football. And he's done a tremendous job. He's a tremendous human. He's a great steward and an ambassador of Ohio State. He checks every single freaking box that you want now. So excited and so happy for Ryan. And I'm honestly happy they got this done, because there was a part of me that until he said, hey, I'll be here till they don't want me anymore, was worried that he might be on the road out of here with some of the criticism and everything that had been going on.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at all the coaches, the coaching hires in the NFL, and, I mean, I honestly thought he would have been a great fit for Dallas. Not necessarily that he wants to go work with Jerry, but and glory smiles and glory holes. But
who doesn't want those legs?
There was opportunities. There was opportunities there ever having won this, and what him and his family went through, and et cetera. But I'm gonna tell you this: I think a lot of it had to do with this team, and that you can still have that in 2025. And I mean, like, old school team. And I think that what Ryan loves to do, having children, a little bit younger than mine, a little bit older than yours, like right in the sweet spot, because he's slightly older than us, Bob, is the development of the guys that are in that building and that culture of fight and love, like tough love, but also the people that are around him. Like we always say, like, love what you do, where you do it, who you do it with. He loves Ohio State football. He is a Buckeye. We talked about that ad nauseum. He understands what it means to the state and to the people in the great state of Ohio. He does a phenomenal job, and he's flipped everything on its head to where, yes, he's 70-10, and pay that man. Like, I mean, it's him, Dabo Swinney, and Kirby Smart are the only 3 people that have won a national championship as a head coach in college football. And he has the all-time, winning percentage of anybody with 75 games minimum. He's 70-10. I think it's 875. It's crazy. So he does a lot of great things. And you and I know him on a personal level from all the things that him and Nina do with On Our Sleeves and those things in Children's Hospital and mental illness. He's a great representative and somebody that you want to send your kid to play for. And I'm happy he's the head football coach for here to come, for the future of Ohio State football.
Yeah. Couldn't say any better. They're going to be, I believe, on the Buckeye Cruise again. They go there. Like, it's just so great to see him interact so well with everybody. Like, it's awesome to see that guy as our head coach. So I'm very happy about that he's got that locked up. Now, let's get on to some OC, some coordinator talk, Schlegs. And the guy, well, before we get there, there's a couple guys that were elevated positions, but who was the new guy that they brought on? Who's the new addition into the offensive stew? That's what everybody wanted to know. And we were talking, like, is it a Kevin Wilson? Do they go try to get like a head coach from somewhere, bring them in? Like, who are they going to go after? Well, they went after Virginia Tech's offensive coordinator, Tyler Bowen. He's going to be the next offensive line coach at Ohio State. And Schlegs, you've coached with him, and just to kind of high level it, He's coached in the NFL. He was coordinator at Virginia Tech, co-coordinator UCLA with Chip Kelly and Justin Fry. So familiar with the system in that standpoint. I coached with you at Jayville, and Tim Walton was on that staff, so there's a little bit of commonality there as well. So it's just good to have guys who've coached together before a lot of times. And you've coached with this guy. So why don't you just tell the folks about him?
I mean, I think Tyler's one, he's a phenomenal human. Two,
How much does he deadlift?
I don't know. Tyler's a big freaking dude, man. Like you said, like all the things are there. Like worked with Justin at UCLA, worked with Chip, understands the run game. And we talked about this when you elevate Brian Hartline to an offensive coordinator position, you now are bringing somebody else in that have offensive coordinator capabilities and experience. But also the biggest thing that you and I have been talking about that Chip did this year that wasn't there was that run game, right? That run first mentality, not to a detriment. Like he changed, like we went to more gap, but the premises of we're going to be able to run the football. And what does that look like? To have somebody that knows that, lives that, does that, but also has called plays at multiple places, has coached in the NFL, because it is different. To bring all of that to the table, I think it was a great hire. Tyler, as far as somebody that's on the field, when he was in Jayville and Jacksonville, he worked with the tight ends. Luke Farrell was down there. I loved watching how hard, like when you're a strength coach, like you go through, and guys, like when I coach, I have a very, very high sense of urgency. I know no other way but to coach really freaking. That. I know you have. I know. But I coach really, really hard. It's probably, there's a couple of things. I'm probably overly loyal, and I just go really, really hard all the time. I have no governor.
Those are your biggest weaknesses? Those are like, hey, hold up. What's your biggest weaknesses? I'm too loyal and I go too hard. I mean, like, come on. You're like,
that's it. That's it. Those are my vices. Those are my vices, and it's a fact. I mean, it will kill. I will have an early death, but at least I'm living. Okay. So that being said, I absolutely love this because of what he can bring to the offensive line. And again, knowing Fry, knowing the offensive line, somebody that's going to coach him really, really hard. Seth alluded to it earlier, about how tight those guys are. Somebody that can be able to make the transition of guys within the room and be able to develop like it's critical. I think Tyler's a phenomenal hire.
It's pretty good. And I'm excited.
I can't wait to see him, man. His wife is awesome. Like he's a good dude, man. Like he will, those guys, the offensive line that are coming back will absolutely love playing for him.
Well, I mean, you heard Seth just say, like, the biggest thing, like, it was exciting for me about next year, because at the beginning of the season, people were talking about next year. It's like, what's he going to look like? I'm like, man, you're losing a lot of offensive linemen. You're losing Simmons. You're going to lose McLaughlin. You're going to lose Fryer. You're going to lose Jackson. Like, you're going to replace your right guard. Like, your right guard's going to only be the returner. Lo and behold, you've got like 3 guards that are playing well now, and Carson Hinsman at center. So you've got 4 dudes for 3 spots in the middle, and then you brought in a couple of portal tackles. Like, so you feel really
big good. Portal tackles, man. Big.
Huge.
These guys are, what I saw, we talked about, like, Bob, like you and I are like normal. We're above average. You're way above average. Like you're a big human. You got big bones, like you're big. All right. I am not. But like I was at the practice and I saw these guys and I'm just like talking with Mick and he's just like pointing at it, like, look at this one. I'm just like, holy crap, look at the size of it. This guy's like 6'8", 325 pounds. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh.
So much beef. So much more coming at you because we got 2 other guys that were promoted at Ohio State that will help fill out the offensive staff. We'll talk about that here next on the Bobby Carpenter Show. If you like a cold breeze on your bag, drink Garage Beer. It's American, and so can you. Garage Beer, beer-flavored beer. All right, and some more news, some Buckeye hires. Kind of rolled out that whole offensive package in a row, and maybe I'll try to get Hartline on next week, Schlegs. But I'm sure we've got something on this. Brian Hartline promoted to offensive coordinator. That's been reported for a while. And Schlegs, he was co-OC last year. 2 years ago, he was the offensive coordinator, and then Ryan was still kind of calling plays. But his ability, I think, to kind of learn and be at this. Now, he's been in Ohio State for a minute. I think it's 7-8 years now that he's been in Ohio State. And but super excited to see his growth. And also with this, Schleg's a guy who we played with at Ohio State, Devin Jordan, who's been helping out with the wide receivers with Brian. Like, he'll probably take more of an elevated role with the wideouts. And not that Brian's gonna, abdicate that. He'll still coach those guys, but he's gonna be a lot more involved in game planning, play calling, and so Devin will probably take a more active role. And so to see those guys elevated like that, it's well deserved by Hart. He's been one of the best developers and recruiters as a position coach in all of college football over the last 5 years. And now we're going to get a chance to see what he's learned, I think, in like the maturity and all these things that come from being at a place and being around some elite coaches for a while.
Yeah, I think it's Bob, like you got to be in there. You got to have your fit. You got to also understand your identity. And I think being around Kevin, being around Ryan, being around Chip, all goes into like, how do you want to call a game? What are the things that you're looking for in that? And it does take time, and it's not something that you need to rush. And here's the thing too, when you got guys on your staff that are Buckeyes, that love Columbus, Ohio, you don't have to like rush them into something. When you already have the quality life, he has a young, beautiful young family. They love being here. He's all about being a Buckeye. So why rush it in? And I think part of this now is just the timing of everything. Like, I'm prepared. When you get these opportunities, you only get like a lot of times one shot to go make it happen. You want to be as prepared as you possibly can. I probably feel that he feels that way. Dave feels that way. And now it's his time. And when you look how this staff is coming together, all those things are built around how do you allow him to have success. So when he does decide, hey, you know what? I want to go run my own show. Well, now you're prepared to go run your own show. And it's cool that it's a process. And guys that love being at Ohio State can stay there longer because they love being there. They're not necessarily chasing the dragon, so to speak, just to go be a head guy. They want to be equipped. They want to fill the toolbox. And when they're ready to go, then they can go and they can make that decision for themselves and their family.
You love it, Schlegs. Unleash the dragon. Go chase it all day. Another guy that's getting elevated. With Chip Kelly leading, he was the quarterback's coach, Billy Fessler. And Schlegs, I've tried to figure out about this.
Don't you punt that ball, Fessler?
Exactly. That's Earl Bruce. Wes Fessler, 3-time All-American at Ohio State, and then came back and coached him to a Big Ten championship in 49 and a Rose Bowl victory as well. 50 was the Snow Bowl. Earl Bruce was on that team. The score ended up being 9-3, I think. Buckeyes lost. It was 3-2. Buckeyes were winning, and a blocked punt for a touchdown cost them that game. And Earl Bruce used to tell us, there's a lady screaming behind saying, "Don't you punt that ball, Fessler."
Yeah.
And we punted it, and it got blocked. He goes, I said this, those Buckeye women, they know their football. Earl Bruce is the best. God love him.
I don't even know what. I love it when you throw those up there because I can still hear him saying that because he was in the press box, like listening to all this go down. But yeah, we got to find out if he is related or not. That'd be really good.
So Billy Fessler, awesome. Kudos to him. And here's the one thing. You heard Will Howard when he was talking, Schlegs, at the end of the season, like thanking people. And everyone's like, oh, Ryan Day, passing game. Yeah, absolutely. Chip Kelly, coordinator, genius, all this stuff. And he's like, I want to thank Billy. And people are like, who's Billy? Like they had no idea who this was. Like Billy was in the room. He was helping out immensely. It was a BFD for him to be in there. Like Will's just not mentioning him unless he thought that he was a positive influence. He was with Chip Kelly. He's been a coordinator before, Schlegs. He was at Akron. He was at UCLA. Like this guy is good. And to be able to keep him and elevate him, I think is a huge attribute to this program, and it's going to help him moving forward.
I completely agree with you, Bob. I mean, and he's not going to say that if he didn't feel like he had a significant impact on his development as a quarterback. Because you get in those rooms, right? Like Chip's calling plays and he's working with the quarterbacks, but he also has to go and see what the offensive line is doing. Like he's not necessarily in the room all the time. We saw that even with James when he was an assistant, right? Like the assistant coach now is just different than it was back when you and I played, when you only had 10 guys that could actually coach. Like your assistants are actual coaches now. So if he felt like, hey, this guy had a huge impact on me becoming the all-time leading completion percentage passer in Ohio State history, I'm going to mention him. Like he obviously did his job. James did that same thing until he got elevated. So good for him that he's elevated. Again, it keeps him the continuity, which when you're a guy and you see other people in the building as a staff get elevated in these things, like that's what you want because you see the work that they put in too, just as much as you're putting it in yourself as a player.
That's huge. I'm very excited for him. And you see him walking around, you watch him being involved. And like you said, the unshackling of the QC and the assistant position coaches now being able to help him. It wouldn't surprise me, how they work this offensive line, who else is in there. And, there's some guys on staff that have helped out already. So I'm excited to kind of see this develop and excited to see this progress further. All right. Put a pin in that. A lot of news today. Big show tomorrow coming up with our guy, Ben Hartsock. Please, if you're listening, like, subscribe, leave your comments. We love it all. And questions, anything you have out there, throw it in for us. We'll have a tailgate talk with Real Truck coming up here in about 5 to 7 minutes. But coming up next, we got our headlines.
Welcome to Big Play, the fastest growing sports media company in America.
I'm gonna keep it straight with you. The reason you should watch our show is because I look good, baby.
Come get some!
Join our millions of fans for live sports talk shows hosted by the top former athletes and sports personalities in the industry.
Ohio, it's my home state.
Obviously, I'm a diehard Cleveland sports fan.
Watch what you want, where you want, when you want. Welcome to Big Play.
Make sure you tune in.
I love you, Cleveland.
All right, Schlegs, we got our headlines. We talk a lot about Ohio State football in here. We talk a little bit about the Super Bowl and some other things, some NFL. But I want to talk about this, a sport that's near and dear to your heart. And a friend of yours once said, I wonder if Schlegs could have wrestled and played football in college. He was a heck of a wrestler growing up. But the Buckeyes, number 4 in the country, doing a great job with Tom Ryan, earned their 3rd consecutive victory over Michigan on Saturday with a 25-14 victory up in Ann Arbor. I watched about the second half to 2/3 of this meet. It was awesome to see Tom Ryan, those guys going up there, getting after it. It was really fun. They got a great crew up there and for the wrestlers. Great young men, and man, Schlegs, they are tough as nails.
Yeah, I mean, first off, Tom got in a horrific car accident that he had to battle back from, before the season, and then what these guys are doing right now. And again, college wrestling, it's very small. The powers that be, the Iowas, the Penn States, the Ohio States of the world, where Ohio State's sitting right now, they have an opportunity. They got some really good dudes on there. But again, this duel, being able to go up in Ann Arbor and beat Michigan for the 3rd time in a row, big time win for Tom Ryan and the boys.
Yeah, it was fantastic. So excited to see that, everything that he's done. And who's the dude? Oh, his name is slipping my mind. They got shot, Schlegs.
Sasso, Sammy
Sasso. I mean, my dude was shot, Schlegs. Like he has like a little limp, and it's like out there still getting after it. Like it is.
Yeah.
The guys that they have there, I mean, you've dealt with them a lot. And you've dealt with Tom Ryan a bunch. Like they are just high quality elite dudes.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I tell everybody all the time. I was at the signing day for my son's baseball thing, and there was a kid going to the Air Force Academy, offensive defensive lineman, and he literally said in his thing, like, "Hey, if you play football, you should wrestle." I was like, "Oh my gosh! Like, what? You're just a 300-pound version of me when I was in high school, going to the Air Force Academy." But yeah, I mean, like wrestling just is different. It's you versus that guy, right? Like
winner loser,
and it's finest, and
every day,
all the things that go in that, like it is one of the greatest sports of all time.
It is. I love it. I love to see that. I walked in the house. My wife and kids are watching. I was like, yes, I like this. I want to watch the Buckeyes. They're awesome. And Tom Ryan is one of my favorites. Been through a lot in his life and just a great man of faith, phenomenal human. The wrestlers have an unbelievable culture. And Ross Bjork he's a lucky dude because they got a lot of tremendous human beings leading some of these programs.
Yes.
Around here. And hopefully the Buckeyes and our guy Jake Diebler get a victory over Maryland tonight on the basketball side of things. He's another awesome human being as well. All right, going to put a pin in that. Coming up next, we got our tailgate talk. We got questions coming from you. Fire away in the chat. We'll get all those answered up for you coming up here next on Tailgate Talk, brought to you by Real Truck.
Get the most out of work, life, and all your outdoor adventures with top-selling upgrades for your truck. Guaranteed fit, free shipping, easy install, expert support, and thousands of dealers just a click away. Bring your truck to life. Real Truck. Upgrade today and save between $50 and $400 on select Real Truck products. Visit realtruck.com/specials.
All right, Schlegs, now into our tailgate talk. We answer your questions brought to you by our friends at Real Truck. Bring your truck to life at realtruck.com. Your truck, your Jeep, your Bronco, on the inside, on the outside, the seat covers, the bed covers, the Jeep tops, the winches. I could list you a million things that they have there, and it's all great. And Schlegs and I have been there. We've used it. I've had multiple orders of stuff. It's all arrived, and I just can't wait to get my Jeep out and get it rolling around to show off, Schlegs, all the sweet gear that I have on it. So go to realtruck.com. If you spend $100, here's the good news. You get free shipping to your house. And that's a big deal because the shipping on that stuff, Schlegs, can be a lot because it's fairly heavy. Go Bucks. Take care of business. Go to realtruck.com. All right. Phil has been asking this.
Phil.
The thrill. And he's not on in the chat today. And so hopefully he catches this. We went a little bit earlier just to get Seth worked in here. But he asked, can you put together, Schlegs, your ultimate like Super Bowl party, like watch, TV, chairs, but mostly the food spread of what you'd be looking for?
I'm always game for a really good charcuterie board, like a good one, with just an array of
meats.
Yeah. Yes, I love that. Now, here's the other thing. I also love chips and queso, but in that queso, it's got to have what?
Meat.
I mean, listen, is it even a meal when there's no meat? The answer is no. So if I'm going to
here's the bigger thing, Schlegs. I feel like this party, it's like a feast. And I told someone, any feast, it's a 2 meat minimum. Like you can't roll out one meat and tell me it's a feast. You've got to have multiple meats. It can be multiple cuts of the same animal. I'm fine with that, but I prefer to spread the love a little bit and get a couple different ones in there.
Yeah. And so like, if you're not going there and having like a spread of food that you're going to have, like a meal type stuff, then the plethora of meats and select. I also love a really good ranch dip with like the cucumbers and the peppers. I like that as well. I like a smorgasbord of just stuff, but those are my things. I like meat queso, I like charcuterie, and I like ranch dip. And I honestly, I could just nibble on that the entire time with some bourbon, and I'd have a great evening.
You know what I want? I like some nachos. All right. Maybe some burgers, some chicken in there. I'd like some burgers. I'd like some wings. Some great Roosters wings. Schlegs, they're delicious.
Mac and cheese bites. I would eat some mac and cheese bites.
Of course you would.
Throw those in there.
I like the pizza, but for that, I want like a super thin flatbread that's like crunchy, but also loaded down with a lot of meat on the top to where I have to hold it with 2 hands.
Donatos.
So it doesn't crack the pizza. Yeah. Right there, like the cracker crust.
Or you go to Home Field and get the Schlegel Slam Box, no trespassing, because they're like jets, but on steroids with the crispiness, and they have like this honey drizzle. You guys should check out Home Field. It's over off Grandview Avenue. It's legit.
It's great. I'll have to show you the picture of it. We've talked a little bit about it. I've got a shirt over there, but I've got my arm put on this infrared light right now, Schlegs, to heal my elbow. Buckeyes. One other question just came in real quick before we get out of here. Who was it by? I'm trying to figure out where it was. It was about Kevin Wilson. Is Kevin Wilson available? I said, who? Dominic. Not your average guy. It says Kevin Wilson available to coach. I think he is. I don't think he's anywhere currently. His son, Toby, who Schlegs refers to as Nacho Libre, is helping out in the weight room right now. And maybe that's something that he comes in and more of like a senior offensive assistant role, helps with the offensive line. Helps out Heartline. Like that's one of the benefits now of how the NCAA kind of changed the rules. So I would love to be able to see that happen as well. Your thoughts on maybe K-Dub coming back, Schlegs?
I agree with your statement. When you get longer in the tooth and you don't necessarily want to recruit and you want to be about ball and you have a city and you also have a home in Florida, like you want to have some autonomy, is there a fit potentially? And there's other people in the chat talking about Chris Carter, and is there a thing for Maurice on the staff? Like, you also forget, like, not all those people want to be on a staff.
No.
Like, they enjoy being able to do and have autonomy outside of, like, I got to be in the building all the time every day.
Yeah, like Maurice would come to practice. He did a lot of what I did. Like, he'd come to practice. He talked to a lot of the guys. He'd go to the games. He'd travel with the team. Like, but he wasn't in practice every day, all day. He'd come on Tuesday, and then, but like, when you're coaching, like, Schleich, it's 7 days a week for 6 months of the year, and then 5 to 6 days a week for the other 6 months a year. Like, not everybody wants to do that, like, and especially when you're all like, Chris Carter's 60. I'm like, I'm not saying he wants to coach, or doesn't want to coach, but do you want to do that every single day and be involved in just all the stuff that goes into it? It's a lot. It's a lot.
It is.
That's part of the reason why Schleich and I are sitting here talking about coaching as opposed to being about coaching right now. Buckeyes. So that's awesome right there. If we have any other questions, other than beef. Oh, and 79 Steely Matt just asked about Devin Jordan. I said, I think Devin Jordan is going to be elevated with his role. And Schleich and I both played with him. Hartline played with him. Like, they've got a great relationship, and I'm sure Devin is going to absorb more of that receiver position coaching. Hartline will probably still run the room, but he's going to have other things. And those guys have a great relationship with Devin. He's smart as heck. He's an Ohio guy. He checks the boxes, and he has a great relationship with Hart. And that's the thing when you have coaches, Schleich, where people don't have egos, like, you're not stepping on each other's toes. You know how to coach it. I trust you to do it. I'll have some oversight. Buckeyes, let's get it going. So super excited. All right. Coming up next, we get the parting thoughts of one Anthony Schlegel. Maybe on More Than Just Meats. Who knows? Stay tuned.
Welcome to Big Play, the fastest growing sports media company in America.
I'm gonna keep it straight with you. The reason you should watch our show is because I look good, baby.
Come get some!
Join our millions of fans for live sports talk shows hosted by the top former athletes and sports personalities in the industry.
Ohio, it's my home state.
Obviously, I'm a diehard Cleveland sports fan.
Watch what you want, where you want, when you want. Welcome to Big Play.
Make sure you tune in.
I love you, Cleveland.
All right, Schlegs, parting thoughts for you on this wonderful Thursday.
Yeah, throw it up there, Pat. What you got? So look at this guy, man. I mean, first off, little Buckeye Hunter Schlegel's going up there to Finley.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, signing day, it was great because you get to hear people, and he's like, "Hey, I'm not writing a speech; it's going to be just off the top of my head," and it was really good. But like, here's the thing: like, if you would have looked at this kid when he was 6 years old, 7 years old playing baseball, you're like, "What the hell?" Right? 10 years old, like, "What the hell?" Not going to play. Just let's be better. And then he loves it. He continues to work at it. And you see him and his teammates, and really, it's something that I don't ever take for granted is the impact of his teammates. And as a parent, the role that I have on his guys. And it's just good. It's not good for me to see, but it's good for him to understand all the people that go into allowing for an athlete, a young person to be able to accomplish their dreams. He gave shout outs to them all. His coach, Youngstown guy, really proud of his work. Really proud of all the young people that are going after and doing the things that Bob and I did of chasing that dream to be a collegiate athlete. Super cool to see. And also, side nugget, the dude has had a lot to do with our show and digging up nuggets. So he's part of the Bobby Carpenter show, just in the weeds doing what an 18-year-old does.
He's digging up nuggets, running wild, going to be at Philly next year. Super excited for him, Schlegs. Congratulations to you for raising one tough little younger dude. Well, that's it for today's show. Big show tomorrow with Ben Hartsock coming out. Probably a little more coordinator talk as well with him, and share some great stories. And then next week, hopefully, I think we're going to get Lathan Ransom going on this thing and be able to get this thing rocking as I'll be live from Guantanamo Bay, assuming that I'm allowed to get like external internet and things work. hopefully we'll be able to have our show scheduled and get it going. But we got all that here, so stay locked in and stay tuned next week on the Bobby Carpenter Show.